What's up? What's up? What is up? Another Friday, another opportunity to get together and record the Ball Hog Sports Talk. Today's episode is going by the title of Back to School, because we are indeed back to school, and y'all back to taking our kids to school, back to the traffic of school in the mornings. We are back to school. It's that time of year, y'all. And we have been on a summer hiatus. We've taken a few of our mental summer Fridays, but we are back. It is good to have the whole crew in the building. It is good to be back to school. It is good to be back to sports. It is good to have the Ball Hog Sports Talk community in the building. So with no further ado, girls and boys, dogs and frogs, cats and rats, whoever you might be, pull up a seat. Get you one of the tall mugs of coffee. You can splash with whatever you want, because we about to school you a little bit today. Sports is back. The Ball Hog Sports Talk crew is back, and we're going to get it done this morning. So you know what it is. It's the Ball Hog Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. The whole crew is in the building this morning. It's the back to school episode. Please like, comment, share. Let's get everybody in the room, because we about to school you. With that, let's go. Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke, because this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're going to give it to you rough, rugged, and raw, so come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go, 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 go. Once again, it's on. Once again, it is on. Back on the microphone, and it is the crew in the building. Looking fresh off of summer. Got that summer glow to you. Straight from the Middle Coast. I hear there's a real heat wave going on out there in the Middle Coast. The man, the myth, the legend, thou who shall be known and respected intergalactically as the Big Flow Show is in the building. What's up, my brother?
What's good, America? Yes, the rumors are true. It was 115 heat index yesterday. The devil was outside with the Jehovah's Witnesses trying to knock him and pass out holy cards. We did not let him in, as usual.
Get behind me, Satan.
Get behind me, Satan. It was real hot. It was real warm. One of those things where you check the mail tomorrow type things, and nothing that you couldn't put off. The beauty of working from home, air conditioning, is I just peeked my head out and agreed with everybody and stayed back in the house. So God bless.
Back in the building. I'm glad you're back in the house. And then from the East Coast, where it actually has been pretty pleasant the last several days, he is the man, the myth, the legend in different ways, because he's Ellis, the producer, thou who shall be respected as everything and anything on the extremes and anything in between. Beantown, Boston's finest, but by way of New Jersey. ETP Ellis, the producer. What's up, my brother?
What's good? What's really good? I'm happy to be back. I missed y'all, and I'm ready to get it started. Knock some of the rust off.
Let's do it, man. Let's knock some of this rust off then, because we back to school. Y'all know what it is when we get back to school. Y'all high school friends, your college friends, everybody's posting these pictures on social media of their kids with the sign starting whatever grade and saying what I want to be when I grow up. So we'll do our own version of it. What do you want to be when you grow up? I'll start with you on this for ETP. If you had a sign, you know, you're starting the, I don't know, grade, let's call it the 37th grade. And you've got this sign and it says, what do you want to be when you grow up? What does that sign say, ETP?
Rich and retired.
Rich and retired. Some would argue you're already rich. Retired, I guess, you know.
Some would argue I'm already retired.
Right. All right, your turn. Big Flow Show. The sign says Reggie Barima Sr. ETP's in the 37th grade. I mean, you in the 61st grade. And you
So you say I was one of his teachers, is what you're telling me. I was one of the teachers.
So the sign then says, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" What does it say, Big Flo
I just want to be sexy. That's all. I just want to be sexy. When I grew up, I just want to stay sexy. That's
that
all.
means you've been lying to us because you've been telling us you sexy the whole time.
I want to still be sexy. That's all I'll say. When I grow up, I want to still be sexy. Besides that, whatever it is, whatever the profession is, you know what I mean? Whatever sexy people do at that age.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
I feel it. My sign says something like, so I'm between y'all. That puts me in the 59th grade. And my sign says something like, man, you get old, man. I just want to be healthy. That's the crib. What do you want to be when you grow up? I just want to be. That's when you know you're old. I just want to have a shoulder that don't hurt when it rains. I want to have an ankle that every time I walk, doesn't feel like it's got a pop, like snap, crackle, pop. I want to have a hip when I wake up. You know what I mean? Don't remind me of the days back on the gridiron. I just want to be healthy, man. That's all I want to be when I grow up, man. But we got to jump in because the back to school doesn't start there. The back to school is also with sports, right? Because when you spent that whole summer, and shout out, man, this is my son celebrated. My son just turned 13, man. You know, 13. Shout out to Big Deuce. He just turned 13.
Teenager, baby.
I have a teenager on my hands now, man. And I asked him because he went to the barbershop and got one of them fresh cuts. You know, you got 13. He's like, Dad, he went got one of them cuts. I'm like, man, what you getting a haircut for, man? There's a certain young lady you trying to see when you get back to school, you know, and the cologne and all that stuff. Remember those summers?
He put
He
smell goods on?
Yet. No, not yet. It's coming.
Oh,
that's what I know.
He put the smell goods on. That's a wrap.
He didn't put the smell good on yet. He didn't put that on. He hasn't asked me about that yet. Dad, can I borrow your clone? I haven't had that question yet, but he did get the haircut. It was
let him borrow that high karate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You already know what it is. The what is it called? The Black Panther or whatever. I'm still going to Jupe.
Starting off with Old Spice.
Eternity. But you remember that first day of school, man. You missed a certain young lady all summer. You wanted to see her. For me, it was, I ain't gonna say no names. As a matter of fact, I'm not allowed to say names. But I remember that summer when I couldn't wait to get back to school, man. I couldn't wait because I wanted to put on that cologne. I wanted to put on that fresh outfit, out on the fresh new sneakers. You know, he's lucky because his birthday comes right before school starts, so he's gonna bust out the fresh new sneakers. And in an odd way, man, that's where we are with sports. I've been trying to get back to this football thing. I can't wait to dress up on Saturdays and wear certain things. I can't wait, right, to be in a situation where I'm not in fantasy football anymore, but in a bar where I'm talking trash, and the moment has arrived. We are back to school, gentlemen. Sports is back. College football starts this weekend. That's why I'm wearing this, because the Irish have traveled not across the country. They've traveled across the pond, the big pond, and they're playing in Ireland. They're playing Navy, but it is now an exclamation point. College football is back. We're back to school, gentlemen. What do y'all got for this weekend? Week 0. We know Notre Dame is playing Navy over in Ireland. There's some other games. I know Hawaii's playing somebody, but I don't care who the game is. Say again.
USC got a game.
Who USC playing?
San Jose State.
San Jose State. But this means it's
back, USC man. Can't let us have a day to ourselves. They want to come over there and be all up in our video.
Player haters. Straight up player haters. But this means that it is back, man. We have talked about conference realignment all summer. We've talked about NIL all summer. We talk, and now we can put the talking on the shelf, and we can let these pads clock. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it. I know that we have been dying for it. We are fresh off of our not 1 but 2 week hiatus. We've never done that back in terms of Ball Hawk Sports Talk. So we back to school as well in terms of sports. Let's get into it, man. What are we looking at in college football this year? What do you think will be the team to follow? I know Georgia seems to always be knocking on the door. Nick Saban is still Nick Saban. What are we looking for in college football? I'll start with you on this one, Big Flo Show. What say you?
Man, if I'm being non-biased, I gotta say Notre Dame. I mean, so I think that they're gonna come through.
I like how you did that.
A completely non-biased approach. We got ourselves a quarterback. They got a good receiving core. They're real excited about the receivers. They got a Haitian dude running back. Look like he'll run through your face.
He's a Jersey/New Yorker.
He's Haitian
He's really
first.
from New York,
Haitian
but
first.
went to school in Jersey. But yes,
all y'all can do what y'all want to do. Haitian first, but he's Haitian. We can do. I think Notre Dame is going to be it's going to be interesting because obviously we got a new offensive coordinator, so we got to see what we're going to do in the post Tommy Reese era. Not to say that he's the end all be all, but obviously this is a change. But to have a quarterback of this caliber, I think arguably he's going to be top 5 quarterback in the country right now. Without the Notre Dame hype behind him, he came in with proven record. From a different situation, I think he should be good. I do say watch out for Bama though. I mean, Bama's been kind of told that they're passed over and that they're no longer on top, and Georgia's been this and that, whatever. I wouldn't want to see them. I put 500 on it that they would go undefeated this season with my odds.
But you gotta give like a disclaimer or something, like you're not suggesting, or if you got a gambling prop, you gotta put a disclaimer.
No, it's legal. It's gambling's legal. I can tell you I smoked a joint to it if I want to. Now it's legal. Things are different than when we grew up.
And got paid by the university, or not by
the university. I can say what I want to say. But I would be remiss if I didn't tell you to watch out for Northwestern. We coming back, baby, 6-6 at least. Let's go.
I'll tell you, man. And Northwestern is going to start the season under interesting circumstances. We know Pat Fitzgerald got terminated because of public pressure. We've asked and answered the question about. I'm not going to put you in that position about where we are as a society. That man got fired for that. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they do as well, man. ETP. Go ahead. My bad. Big Flo.
I was just saying, just to finish up with that, I think, thank God, for the next scandal, right? So there's been so many scandals since then. I don't feel like
you sounded like a Trump supporter right there. He said,
thank God for the next. Look, we got a president that had a mugshot yesterday.
A mugshot, bro.
We had dude that I don't think that the story at Clemson got enough press to me for my liking. The dudes had the OnlyFans for all his teammates.
Oh,
I feel like that came and went too quick.
That was wrong.
That went too quick.
He was on another team before that even broke.
He had another jersey up. Could you imagine? You found that story out. His locker was next to you. I don't think that got enough love. So I'm gonna keep that story alive. But I think these other scandals have helped Northwestern kind of settle down. The shock and awe is kind of gone. They found out some other high schools have been running people. There was a video I saw of a high school team where they was running a kid and they videotaped and all the different stuff like that. So thank God for the next scandal. That's all I got to say. There's other ones that we'll talk about later. I don't want to get too far in the thing, but those scandals are good too. Let's go.
Yeah, man. Hey, thank God for the next scandal. And you did mention that our president number 45 took a mugshot yesterday. Yeah. And Rudy Giuliani,
shout out to Trump for taking the mugshot.
Rudy Giuliani was like the author of this civic crime movement. Rico took on a whole new
Rico.
Yeah, he was the guy, and now he is
by the sword,
facing
Rico
charges. Very interesting, man. Full circle. Anyway, ETP, we got college football. Now I know you missed everything Boston, but I've never heard you talk about Boston College. Are you a Boston College fan?
Not really.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. That's the best thing.
I don't answer that question. I don't know where to go.
Boston. I heard you talk about Boston Red Sox. I know how you are about your Patriots. I've never heard you talk about Boston College.
So as far as college sports go in Boston, we had a nice little run with UMass basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's probably
nobody hates UMass. Right? No one hates UMass, right? No one hates UMass. They're fine.
No one hates me. And Kyle Park was there in that. UMass. That's Canby.
Canby. Yep, exactly. So but I mean, from a football standpoint, I mean, football. I mean, it's the one time that I'll defer to the South in terms of sports outside of Massachusetts. So we're not a college sports town. We're pro sports, but
you're college.
You're Notre Dame. It sounds like you're a Notre Dame fan. I mean,
I actually have been a Notre Dame fan.
Hey, who knew? How many years we got to do this show before we got a shout out? There we go. Okay.
You learn something new every day.
But yeah, you know, it's there's a lot of Irish people in Boston, so
They are.
We don't claim none of them.
Yeah.
No. We will ask this, man, because before I even ask, I'll say, please like, comment, share, tag anyone you know. Please subscribe to both the YouTube channel and the podcast. Now, let me ask our audience this, the amazing people that support us. What do y'all see? We want to get it on record. This is the back to school episode. So we want to get it on the first day of school, put it in writing. Who is your pick to win it all in college football this year? Now, the reason I love college football is because it's never too early to come out with a ranking. There is no way to tell who's going to do what, but I still want to hear from our audience. Who do y'all have win it all? Who do you think is going to be the contender when it's all said and done? We're still only at 4 teams for the college football playoffs. Last year of that, and then next year we get to 12 teams. So this will be a very interesting last run of a 4 playoff team. We'll see who wins it. But please do chime in. I want to know who y'all pick. Who y'all picking? Should be a great football season. I'm looking forward to starting it off in Notre Dame. But then right after that, man, y'all know Labor Day weekend is always an exciting weekend. So next weekend, you got, you got LSU going to Florida State. They're not going to. I think they're playing in a neutral site game. There's just all these games early in the season. So make sure you tell me who you picking. Who you got. I would say this about college football, because the conference realignment, in addition, I like about college football, we talk about the big time programs, the Power 5 programs. The other thing I like about college football is this is also the time that people are starting to plan to go to homecoming. All my HBCU folk, all right? Because homecoming has seemed to move up for some strange reason. I guess because of COVID, I don't know what happened, but a lot of HBCUs are having homecomings early. Tennessee State next week is going to play at Notre Dame. That means they have an NBC nationally televised game. Eddie George, the former Heisman Trophy winner, and Tennessee Titan is coaching that Tennessee State team. There are a lot of stories that maybe ESPN does not cover that are great stories around this time of year. So share those with us, man. Tell us what you're excited about with college football, and let's get ready for some football. Let's get ready to rumble. But the conference realignment thing is taking a whole different twist. Now it seems as though the ACC is entertaining, yet again, SMU, Cal, and Stanford. And the thing that I thought was most interesting about SMU is SMU, there are concessions that people have to make, put in this sort of musical chair situation with the conference realignment. But SMU's concessions are, to me, off the charts. SMU has decided, if they go to the ACC, that they're willing to take a 7-year window where they get a total of $0 from the media rights. $0. Cal and Stanford have agreed to make their own concessions to take a much smaller percentage per team of the media rights, but $0. Don't that mean you a crack hole on some block?
Nah, because like, the crack hole gets crack. There's still an exchange.
They're worse than the crack hole.
She still gets the rock that she's addicted to. Now, what would be bad is if the ACC negotiates with them and says, could y'all come up with $3 million a year?
We'll take y'all for a fee.
$3 million a year, no home games.
Can you do 10 years of no payment? Right? I mean, if you start from that position, that's the smartest man in the world. Like, where do you go from negotiating? Where do you go?
No home games. Man. No home games. That's the next one. All travel. Will you pay for us to come to y'all game?
I'm joking, but I'm not. That's where we are. That's where this conference realignment thing has put a lot of these universities. And look, I'm joking about SMU, but Stanford is the Harvard of the West. They got them on the brink of making a silly deal. Stanford has won the, whatever they call it, the Sears Cup I don't know
Every
how
year.
many years.
Every year
Right?
we're
So
like 1 or 2. Yeah.
So they are the definition of academics and athletics, the perfect balance. And Stanford is in this position where they might be in the ACC. The volleyball team's got to travel all the way to where, the East Coast, Atlantic area, every single away game. And then they still might not get their full percentage of the media deal. But that's where conference realignment has put a lot of these universities. And it's interesting and sad at the same time. And not only is it going to do away with the rivalries, but I think the whole business model is under attack because of conference realignment. I know we have talked about this ad nauseum. I'll let either one of you weigh in quickly before we move on. But I think this example of a Stanford and a Cal and SMU and where they are from a bargaining standpoint is the tip of the iceberg with this conference realignment. What say you before we move on, guys?
I think personally it's kind of sad for the SMU thing. I can get it. 7 years seems so long though for no bread. They must just have a lot of money in the school. We looked it up and it was like the AAC only pays out. I think I got 8.8, you got 7 million with different reports, but not a ton of money. So they're probably thinking, okay, the money that they'll raise and increase revenues, getting people on campus and just the popularity of their team and being able to recruit better, long term will be better. But 7 years is a long prove it period, I think.
No, none of the bread. Like, hey, you guys split up all the money from the TV deals. We're just gonna chill over here and let people.
Everybody's at the party. You're the one walk on. Your school is the one walk on in a room full of scholarship guys. Everybody's at the training table when you're outside with a cheese sandwich. Right? No offense to walk-ons, but like that's what it is. Like, damn, everybody out here is living large. You're driving to the meetings, they're taking private jets. It's terrible.
Yeah, I like how you said no offense to walk-ons. That's the same thing they're gonna do when they're at the business table. Like, no offense to SMU, but y'all don't get to talk about this. We're
you don't get any votes. And then are you guaranteed year 8 to get bread? Or I mean, because where are you coming from? You come from zero.
Year 8. What's to stop in year 8 the conference realignment again? Like, now
we'll renew you at this, but other than that, you're not in. Right?
It's just sad. I think. And look, my man, what up, bro? Gary is saying, we're losing all these traditional conference rivalries. As a sports purist, an enthusiast about college football, to think about some of the rivalries that we will lose. That rivalry itself, maybe that's why they're trying to go together. But Stanford and Cal, the band like that itself is a rivalry. Those two bands and their eccentric styles is itself a rivalry. And I just look, money is at the root of all evil. I hate to be cliche, but the evil of what this is going to do to the purists who love these rivalries, the purists that want to actually travel to games, right? If you're a real Stanford fan and want to go to games outside just the revenue-generating games, you ain't going to go watch an away game at NC State. It's just an interesting way that money has driven us into this situation. ETP, I'll give you last word on it if you want it, man, before we move on.
I mean, we've talked about it. I think it's ultimately we're just going to get to a point where it's, NFL developmental league. And so all of this moving around, it's unfortunate. And, it's interesting that I would think that there would be a little bit more pushback from fan bases, the way that people, especially in the South, are really committed to their teams and the traditions and all that. But it just seems like there's not really a lot of pushback or resistance to these realignments. Everybody's just kind of in support of, the best money deal. But the idea that you're going to give up, I'm still trying to figure out what the value is that you're going to forego essentially like $100+ million over the course of 7 years. Like, what other are you going to come out with a much better apparel line that's going to do crazy numbers because you're now in the conference? Are you like, where's the opportunity? The majority of the money that comes into all of these schools from a sports perspective, primarily football and also basketball, is through media, right? Like ticket sales, sure, but the big ticket is really the media deals. And I mean, even to the point where they have their own network. So to forego that, I don't really see where SMU, like, they might need a different accountant.
But to think about that number, right? $100 million over that 7-year time frame shows just how desperate some of these schools are. Under no other circumstances would you consider giving up $100 million, right? But because of where we are with this landscape, and we're talking about the revenue generating sports that are leading the conversation. It's basketball and football that are leading the conversation. Think about how much more money the universities are going to lose because of the exorbitant cost of travel for all the non-revenue generating sports. The sports that were in the red are going to be much further in the red. Or Title IX is going to put us in a position where everyone's going to reduce the total number of sports that they have. I don't know what the balance will be, but here's where we are. There's an Iowa betting scandal that we have talked about forever. And I only talk about it now because it's taken on even some more intimate details where two of the people that are involved in this Iowa betting scandal are now facing criminal charges because they were tampering with evidence. Iowa's best defensive tackle, and I don't want to call young people by name, so I'll let you look up the young man's name, but their best defensive tackle, who was, honorable mention All Big Ten, and in his last year of eligibility has now been suspended for the year. And now it's like this domino effect. There's rumors that there are going to be a lot more players that will be suspended from this. And it's unfortunate, but it's also like, duh. As soon as betting became legal and you could do it from an account in the comfort of your own home, or dare I say, in the comfort of your own dorm room, this was bound to happen. And so I'm wondering whether or not we're being a little too tough on these athletes. And maybe I'm being, I don't know. I don't know if I'm softening too, because they knew the rules, yet they tried to skirt the rules. But it seems as though there wasn't any really major money being bet on these games. They weren't betting on the games that they could influence one way or another.
I think some people did.
On some of their own games?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure. I think some people bet on their own games. As long as you bet to win, I don't think that should be illegal. Like, I think it should be. I think that should be good to bet. I bet on me. Because remember, what was that famous boxer? What was that boxer that the dude with the real bad teeth that went to prison when he was like a middleweight? He bet all his purse on himself, huh? The executioner, he used to wear the
Sphinx had the bad teeth.
He had more recent than that. I think De La Hoya era. He had the big X he put on his face. He came in.
Oh, the executioner. You're talking about Bernard
Hopkins. He bet all his whole purse on himself. I love that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, you're talking B.
Yeah, I know I'm gonna win.
ETP. Am I being a little too lenient? Is this generation starting to get to me? Am I being what do they call us, a snowflake, and saying that they're being too tough on these young men for betting when betting is legal? Am I being a snowflake? Because this is the back to school episode, bro. And I feel like let me school the NCAA on something. When something is legal and easy to do, and there's an opportunity to make money, and oh, by the way, not every athlete is an NIL worthy athlete, then somebody gonna go try to make that bread. Duh. To me, that's 101. This is not high level chemistry here. This is 101. Am I being a snowflake and saying that I think that we're being a little tough on these athletes?
I mean, I see it both ways, right? One is the hypocrisy of all of it, because now you have all of these leagues and organizations and conferences that have sports betting partnerships, and they're taking money from all of these different sports betting platforms, but then you're saying you can't, as a participant, you're not able to utilize it. That being said, there's a whole lot of things that are legal that you can't do as a college or professional athlete in terms of supplements you could take and different things. So I don't think that that's so unique that they can't do certain things that are legal. But I think all with the prop betting, at the end of the day, there could be a prop bet to say, is the running back going to wear pink socks? And you bet on that and say, I'll pay you half the winnings to wear pink socks. And then we're done, right? Like, so ultimately, whether you can win, it's just, there's too many ways to bet that you can influence, whether it's the spread, whether it's all the prop betting, whether it's parlays, whatever it is, that it just contaminates the whole thing. It's hard enough, right? Like I always look at the NBA had a betting scandal or a game fixing scandal with their referees, and they've done literally nothing to prove to me that it doesn't exist anymore. Nothing. So there's all questionability. I mean, in college sports, especially, I mean, what was it? Henry Hill, the main character from Goodfellas that created the whole, speaking of Boston College, had a whole point, spread, point spread fixing racket with all of the players. And so all of these things, you have to maintain some level of, I guess, integrity to the game, but it's hard when they start allowing a little bit more or a lot more involvement from sports betting platforms into the sport. Like there's no separation anymore.
Right. I bet you that Big Flo is going to be a little more understanding. I bet you that. Let's bet that. Big Flo show. What say you, man? I mean, am I snowflaking now? Am I being a little too lenient on the young people?
Here's what I'm going to say about this. Northwestern, tip of the iceberg. You heard about some hazing, and now you've been hearing about hazing in girls' sports, golf. I think they got a cheerleading hazing thing coming out somewhere, all over. This is going to be the tip of the iceberg. I was going down, and if they start looking, they're going to eventually have to be like, hold on. Because all these kids got a little bread in their pocket. Think about how poor we were in college. We didn't have any money, right? People still used to shoot dice for like coops, right? $20, whatever they allegedly. And trying to do what they can. Kids are always going to find some way to bet you a ice cream sandwich or something. Betting been happening back since kindergarten, right? Try to figure out something. If you think that Iowa is unique in betting with these youth, if they start getting involved and this starts getting big, it's going to be a scandal. That's all I got to say. It's the tip of the iceberg. So does that make it right? Nope. Because just like underage drinking, if they wanted to crack down and they go to every college in America, you can find as many 18, 19, 20-year-olds drinking as you can 21-year-olds. It's one of the things that you just know is going to happen, just like sex on campus. Things are going to happen like that. So all these things with young people, you put a little bread in their pocket and a lot of freedom that they didn't have before, they're going to make bad decisions in a certain percentage. So I don't know. I mean, what they've had a good point. Gary, Jason, Lewis, all these three name dudes and stuff like that. You trying to be a movie star. Gary Jason Lewis said, you can influence it one way or the other if you can bet for or against. I guess you should be trying to beat the spread all the time, just in general, because you're trying to score as many points as you want. So maybe don't bet at all. But then, I don't know. I mean,
but I think you're being too lenient because it's not even about the breaking of the rules. It's the stupidity, right? Like weed, you can't you can't smoke weed. Cats have been smoking weed. Athletes have been smoking weed forever, but they figure out how to beat the test. So in this situation, and you're talking about these kids got money now, all right, get a bookie, get one of your classmates and say, look, these are the bets I want to make. Don't ever associate it with me. Just have my money when we win. And that's it.
Have me my money.
Like there's so many ways that you don't have to get caught. You're not being too lenient about the penalty. You're being too lenient and letting them off the hook for being stupid.
I'll give you that. I guess I expect them to be stupid, right? Like Big Flo show, any parent, especially dad with a daughter going back to doggone school, just gasp when you like that. Just like sex on campus. You know what's gonna happen. Like you
My
just
daughter ain't on campus. She ain't on nobody campus. Don't talk about my baby girl. She ain't on nobody campus.
I see. Look. I ain't talking about your daughter because she's not even in college.
I didn't like how you said that. I don't like the way that you.
Sure
I think there was all the examples in the world.
I'm sure
all the examples in the
like
world. You want to say sex and my daughter at the same time. I appreciate that.
I said that other. I said dad with daughter in college. They didn't like how you said it. They gasped just now. You talking about underage drinking. They gasped right now. I don't think that everybody does all that. I'm naive. But I expect them to be stupid. I don't expect them to be just so heavy-handed. Now, another scandal that just broke was one that was a self-imposed penalty. Jim Harbaugh will not have the reins of head coach for 3 games. The first 3 games of the year, I think it was like East Carolina, Bowling Green, and somebody else. No Big Ten games. They had whatever the games were. They would be favored to win all 3 of the games. But this is self-imposed because Michigan put out and tried to put out a penalty that they thought would work for the NCAA. And this has to do with, there was a dead period during COVID that Jim Harbaugh allegedly violated. He continued to recruit during this dead period during COVID. And so they are self-imposing a 3-game suspension on Jim Harbaugh. All right. So I get where Michigan is going with this because it seems like the NCAA will not hand out its sanction until 2024. The big question in the room, right, because this is the back to school episode, why does it take the NCAA so damn long to conduct their investigation and hand out a penalty?
Because they're busy doing nothing.
They're the busiest doing nothing organization on the planet, right? Why does it take you to 2024 to decide what's going to happen with this penalty? But then the other thing is, do you think Michigan really got ahead of it by self-imposing this 3-game suspension? Or is the NCAA going to just like even be more upset? Like, all right, now we're going to double it. Because they did not accept the 4-game self-imposed or self-suggested penalty that Michigan has put out there. So do you think it gets worse or better when the NCAA finally renders its decision? I'll start with you on this one, ETP. Or did I start with you last time? I'll start with either one of you. How about that?
Go ahead, E.
Both of y'all light skin. Decide which one you light skin. It's summer, man. Y'all supposed to get dark. Where's the suntans? I'm looking at both of y'all, man. What's going on?
It's 115 heat index outside. I'm inside. My vitamin D.
That's the problem. That's that light skin stuff. I stayed inside in the air. But take your butt outside and get
with
some
the
of
fan.
that doggone sun.
You disrespected my complexion. Really made me forget the question.
My bad.
You're throwing me off now. I don't know if I don't want to go first. I don't want to answer your question.
I'll go first.
I missed y'all.
Listen, I'll go first. Look, I'm gonna step up for my brother. I'm my brother's keeper. I'm gonna step up. So listen, I'm not a Michigan fan. Got a couple, kids I like on the team, but I'm not a Michigan fan. Notre Dame through and through, Big Ten. But I have to give it to them. They really took this thing over and owned it and just spin it up and just shell gamed it. First of all, there was a 4-game suspension. He said, nah, we're not going to do that. So I think if you have the suspension, are you supposed to be gone from practice too?
I think NCAA's version of suspension, but Michigan's version of suspension.
Okay, so now they delayed it and said, nah, we're not doing that, right? So they got all 2 days, all camp. Yep. Now, we in game prep week. He's like, all right, I'm going to give y'all 3 games. But then I'm going to make my dad the head coach for a couple of days. I'm going to make Rick Minner's son a coach for a couple quarters. This dude, he done threw it off and made it into something kind of cool. It's like cool.
His own son
gets one, whatever. All the jet, what's his name, gonna come back and do something?
Mike Hart.
Mike Hart. He's gonna get a little something. He done turn around this 3-game suspension for breaking rules into some like, oh, look at this. Look at how he's giving people a chance. Before the show, we're talking, look how he's giving people a chance. So I got to give him props for taking this thing on it. There's something about that 4th game.
The hell out of it.
If you're game 4 Michigan this week, let you know, Harbaugh nervous about you, right? Because he took that one, y'all, these three, I don't care. But this fourth one, I need to be there for that one. So I took
Rutgers.
that fourth game back and did whatever. So I don't know. It's kind of funny to me. They say he bought a hamburger. Now they say it's more than a hamburger. I happen to know a lot of people were getting contacted during COVID. There was a lot of cheating going on. Not my son, but other people's kids. You know, I don't know. Right now, everything goes. I feel like they're going back trying to find ways to make people violate rules, and there's no rules now. What are y'all trying to do? You can buy people for stuff. Everybody can smoke weed. I mean, the NCAA say you can smoke weed now. What are we doing? Now we buying cheeseburgers. Back 5 years ago, we suspended people for that. Now what are we doing?
Yeah. Nah, but look, Jim Harbaugh, I will say this. He did spin it. He spin it because he was talking about, wait till you see these young coaches. I see all of them having the capability to be a head coach one day. I'm like, yo, this man really did spin it. He did spin it. I forgot that this little nerdy dude with some khaki that's too tight violated the rules because he made me forget it. ETP, what say you, man? Is Michigan did Michigan save itself in 2024 by self-imposing this 3-game suspension in 2023?
I mean, it definitely saved the disruption, right? So it's like, let's get in early, let's get this done. We'll be the first few games. You know, they're all walkovers for the most part. So let's just get it out the way. Time served. My thing is, if it was a recruiting issue, why aren't you taking away scholarships or like to make them sit out games? That doesn't really seem to be consistent or correlated with the violation, right? Like if it was an issue where you were illegally recruiting, then you should have some recruiting challenges imposed upon you versus
they impose the stuff though. Remember, it's no punishment for this here yet. These are their suggestions. It's like asking your kid what's the punishment. Maybe I shouldn't have dessert. And
I should be in my room and play video games.
I should have to sit in my room for the rest from 9 o'clock in the night till 7 in the morning. I should be stuck in my room. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, obviously taking away scholarships hurts more than the program. It hurts, kids and people that, are trying to get a free education or, advance towards pros. But there's some level of direct relation to, I mean, do they just shut them down from recruiting? Is there some limit to, I don't know, but the idea of games doesn't really coincide with the violation for me, but we'll see. I mean, ultimately, it would be hilarious that the NCAA comes up with an alternative penalty, and the games, they're like, well, we weren't even going to suspend you for any games anyway.
Yeah, that was silly. Why'd you do that?
Yeah, you took a vacation.
Well, you know why they did it. In 2024, the Big Ten is going to have USC, UCLA, Washington, and Oregon added to it,
and in 2024. Remember, as we started the show, the back to school episode, they're expanding to 12 teams. So it's even more of a reason. Like, nah, bro,
we may not have cupcake games anymore.
Right?
That Big Ten might be whistle to whistle. So now they're like, man, hold on, let's get some of these things out of here right now. So maybe there's one game next year or nothing. But I don't blame them for doing what they're doing, but shout out to them for owning that shit and making it turn into a laughable moment where people are going to praise you for what you did on your suspension. I think that's. I had to read the story a few times because I'm just looking at what it said about who's involved. I'm like, wait a minute, Harbaugh's son is going to be one of the head coaches. And then a few paragraphs later, it says his 84-year-old dad is on the staff, continues to be on. I'm like, and they're raffling off America. The other quarter to one of the alumni, to the boosters. They're raffling. God bless America. But that's nepotism at its finest. You go ahead, Harbaugh. You a bad man with them damn khakis. I do like the fact that our audience, and thank you always. We love when you guys like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody you know. Please subscribe to both the YouTube channel and the podcast. But Cordell Smith says, whoa, let's not take away scholarships. You get people attention when you talk about scholarships. You get people attention when you say, you know what, Harbaugh, we are going to suspend you from being on the road when it comes to recruiting. That's how you get somebody's attention. But we shall see. To Cordell's point, though, you take away scholarship, actually, ultimately, you're hurting the kid, right? So somebody going to be – they already had too many people on scholarship. They had to they cut a couple kids this summer. So you got to cut one more kid because Harbaugh bought somebody a cheeseburger back before the vaccine came out.
Or add the scholarship to another school.
Yeah, right. You're right. That is bad. You're going to take one of your scholarships and give it to Ohio State. That right there would be a punishment.
You talking about
that would be punishment.
Yeah,
Ohio State
would
be like,
be
y'all should have been calling folks. Y'all should have been calling folks. You know?
So that is our college football, man. Welcome to Back to School episode of the Ball Hog Sports. Welcome to Back to School when it comes to college football. Somebody gonna get schooled this weekend, baby. I asked my kids, man, my 12U kids, I said, please, please, please put your gadget down this weekend and just watch some football. Watch at least 2 hours. Give yourself at least a half of football. Because while I love the NFL and the Cleveland Browns are going to win the Super Bowl this year, you heard it here first. While I love the NFL, man, there's something different, unique, special, it's just sacred when it comes to college football, man. So welcome back, college football. We'll see you on Saturday. Let's hop into NFL, man, quickly. NFL preseason. Preseason, man, I love preseason just because they're guys fighting for their job. They're fighting for their dream. They're scratching, they're clawing, they're doing anything and everything to be a part of that 53 when the dust settles. And I think it's the best, most competitive level of football that you'll see in NFL, right? Because then you get to the point where everyone's comfortable, everyone's trying to protect their injuries, they're trying to protect their clauses and performance clauses, and it becomes more business in football. When it comes to the NFL, this is the purest form of football that we will see. The business is a bit thrown out of the window, and these guys are fighting, scratching, and clawing, and trying to get a spot. But we saw this weekend, or this week, one of the games was ended prematurely, the Patriots game, because someone, unfortunately, was concussed. And so I guess while we said that the NFL was all lip service for a while, and then last night you saw the Colts and I think the Steelers, offensive player is gone and he runs right over a defender, and the defender gets the flag because he put his head down. I think the NFL is beyond just lip service. I think they are trying to do more things to protect the players. Yes, they are protecting their pocketbook while doing so from a liability standpoint. But have you guys noticed that there are more protections in place for the players? And does that mean the NFL has gotten beyond lip service? Loaded question, but one I think is appropriate this week when we saw an NFL a game, preseason, yes, it's preseason, but it was cut short. The second time in less than a year, we all know the DeMar Hamlin situation, but the second time we've seen a game cut short because of a severe injury. This one being someone concussed.
Yeah, I mean it's just a weird space to be in, right? So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say it's just lip service. I think they're taking measures, obviously technology of the equipment and rules and all of that, but it just makes it hard to watch as a fan. Because you're like, the whole, there's a comedian from Boston, Patrice O'Neal, and he has this whole bit where he's like, back when I played football, you wanted somebody to get injured. Like you weren't helping anybody up. You dancing over them, you take their sock off. You're like, oh, he's paralyzed. Take his socks. He doesn't need them. And you tie his sock to your helmet to show the next team or the next week that you mean business, right? So it's just a very existential crisis of being a football fan because you want to see the violence of it, but you don't want anybody to get hurt. And so it's just like this weird area where how do you watch the game if you're concerned and want to make sure? Because ultimately it was reckless abandon and there was no concern for human safety for years, and now it's very, very protective, which is good for the human beings involved. But as a fan, it's just like, how much is it going to progress to the point where we're just literally watching flag football or two-hand touch?
Right. I see my man Keith Wilkerson in the building. What's up, K-Dub? Keith Wilkerson. We talking about Eddie Jordan, man. Keith Wilkerson was younger than Eddie and played before him, and Ohio State was the legend at St. Thomas Aquinas. We're going to get to St. Thomas Aquinas because we are playing, I think, John Bosco this weekend on a national televised game. So we will get to St. Thomas. The illustrious St. Thomas of the greater Fort Lauderdale, Florida area. We will get to that.
Which John Bosco are you playing? New Jersey John Bosco or the one in California?
California, we don't. First of all, we're playing the number 3 team in the nation. We don't mess around. Like
the one in Jersey is pretty good, right? Bosco Prep.
That's Don Bosco.
Don Bosco.
It's not.
They was brothers.
A whole different Bosco.
They cousins. They cousins.
That's the younger Bosco.
Their dads grew up. It was the little brother, big brother.
No shade to Don Bosco, but nah, we talking different level of football.
But he's no John Bosco.
He ain't no John Bosco. Same question to you, Big Flow Show. We watched this decision that the NFL makes to end the game prematurely because of the injury. And look, in this episode of Back to School, we're getting back to school when it comes to football too. Is this the new reality that we will be, forever in this conundrum of, you want to see big hits, right? And I'm watching last night, and the defensive back gets run over. Flag comes out. I'm like, did they call that on the offense? I rewound it. And I said to my son, that's how you finish a run. And then I seen the flag. I'm like, that's how you finish a run right there. I rewound it. And then I realized once I let it play the second time, wait a minute, there's a flag on the play. And I just told my son, that's how you finish a run. I'm like, oh my gosh, let's see what the penalty is. And the penalty was on the defensive player because they said he didn't see what he hit. He dropped his eyes. But that is injury, pun intended. He got penalized for getting run over. But I think it makes the point of where we are from a safety standpoint, what the NFL is trying to do. I'm going to give them credit, and I think they're beyond lip service. And I also say, as a lawyer and understanding how litigious this society is that some of that protection has been protecting themselves, right? The increased number of penalties. They can point to any lawsuit that says, no, we did what we needed to do to protect the game. So I'm not trying to give them all flowers. I understand that there is a business component to this and trying to protect against potential liability down the road. But there's also, I think, just a part of it that they deserve credit. Am I overthinking it, Big Flow Show? When you see that, do you think that the field deserves credit?
I had to read up on it real quick, so sorry for looking down, guys. But Hamlin's situation, he died. He was dead. Stop the game. Like, we need to look at life. He was dead. Emotionally, he passed away, and they had to bring him back to life. And no one should be mentally stable to play a game. Concussions are bad, and I'm glad they're trying to clean it up in the game, especially with my son playing the game. And I just think for everyone's sons out there, I'm glad they're cleaning it up. But they're part of the game. Sounds like the guy got a concussion, hitting his own player. Not that makes much of a difference, but it's 21-17 with 10 minutes and 29 seconds left to go in the game. I don't think they should cancel the game. And the reason why is there's some the guy's eyes were open when he left the thing. He wasn't paralyzed. I mean, they put him on the blackboard or whatever, but he wasn't paralyzed. It was a bad injury. It's a bad thing to have a concussion. But there's a lot on the line with this game. There's people.
A lot of jobs are still being.
People trying to fight to make a team, and you're losing the opportunity. And I think even if you ask the guy who got the concussion, he would tell you he was a 7th round pick from Jackson State. So had it not been him, he would be one of these guys saying, "What are we doing?" You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to fulfill my dream. I need these reps. I was just about to go in. 10 minutes left. There's somebody who ain't been in yet that was going to go in that didn't get an opportunity. And nothing was gained. It wasn't, again, had he been paralyzed or something, I can kind of get it. But, like, I got a concussion, man. Shit happens. People blow their knees out and they get carted off. It happens. It's part of this dangerous-ass game that for some reason we love playing. I don't like it. And I think it's going – what's the precedent? Like, what's the threshold now that we're canceling games? Are we going to just cancel games every time somebody gets hurt? A star goes down and gets hurt, we do whatever? There's a lot of stuff that goes on with money. I mean, money, we talk about money in such a negative way, but money we all need it, right? It was created in this world so that we could all find things to buy and support and do whatever for ourselves. So there's money on the line, right? There's a lot of people, bills need to be paid and people trying to get jobs. And I don't like canceling it for something like that because
I think they're going to start canceling whenever the Bears got the lead. Because, boy, that rarely happens.
I would be with that. If the Bears are up and we cancel, who wins the game? I mean, 21-7, it was a good game, too.
We're just going to say y'all didn't lose. That's what it is. Because
we didn't lose. Yeah, we didn't lose.
So out of the three of us, NFL preseason.
Bears about to win it all, though. Bite your tongue, man. You be talking about Browns with the Bears about to Bears.
Bears not going to win. Of the three of us. All right, so we got Patriots, Bears, and Browns. And we asked the audience this. All right, and I know we got Cowboys fans. I see Keith Wilkerson. I saw my man Scott Bibb. Wherever you go, wherever you freaking can find, like they like roaches. Cowboys fans exist. So try to be unbiased here. Of the three of us, our teams, the Ball Hog Sports Talk crew, who's gonna have the best record at the end of the year? Patriots, Bears, or Browns? I don't even think it's gonna be close. The Browns gonna have the best of those three teams. We're going to have the best record at the end of the year, those three teams. And we're in the hardest division. AFC North is a harder division, definitely than the NFC North. And I like AFC East. Yeah, AFC East got it this year, but I think AFC North is better. We'll still have the best record. Y'all heard it here first. Back to school, baby.
First and last is where we heard it. First and last person to say that. I'm a Browns fan.
You're gonna be last. I mean, the Bears are.
Watch your mouth, man. Talking to me early in the morning. I'm a Browns fan because my man's on the team right now. But realistically, the Bears are gonna have the best record out of those three teams right now. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm gonna put that on something too. I'm gonna put on something. Hey, I'm gonna call my roommate if they're gonna put a bet in for me on Sportsbook for the Bears. Is that a prop bet? The Bears can be better. If that's a prop bet, we all should stand on it. We should all make this bet and stand on it.
Patriots, I don't think the Patriots didn't make any moves that would make me feel as though and y'all division.
So hold
on. They did got Zeke. They got Zeke. Hey, Zeke should sue his stylist or something. They make him look like me out there in that uniform. There's no way he's as fat as they're showing. Is he that fat?
It was Zeke.
He looked like Ironhead Hayward out there. There's no way he's that fat. I keep seeing these pictures of him. You think that's Photoshop?
I don't think it's Photoshopped at all, man. He plays a position that the NFL has said has no value. He got his money not once but twice. Anymore. Man, live your life, Zeke. I mean, I don't know about the whole cutoff shirts, but it is what it is.
Cordell has the same bias as me because it's just so you know, we think the Browns. He root for the Browns. We got the same bias that we root for, but the Bears gonna win it. Don't let Cordell think that you're right. Just so you know,
Cordell, you a genius, man. Out of the three of us, look. It's back to school, man. Sometimes when the teacher gives you the handout and the information is right there in front of you, you just got to acknowledge that that's what it is. And of the three of our teams, you got to say the Browns look like they got the most promising season ahead. Come on, fellas. It is what it is.
Bears, man. We about to get Jonathan Taylor.
You got to play the Bengals and the Ravens twice each.
Hey, and guess what? The Bengals and the Ravens got to play us twice. We ain't nobody.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're looking forward to it.
Hey, y'all on Lake Erie.
I looking forward to the old Browns, not this Browns, not these Browns. We in here this year, baby.
Y'all on Lake Erie, dude. Relax.
Doesn't sound tough about that. You're on Lake Erie.
Lake Erie. You can't even swim in that water. Why? Just be careful, man. Just be careful.
You ever heard anybody say they're going on vacation to
Cleveland? We're going on to the lake, Lake Erie.
Hey, I did want to say this before we got out of here because y'all talked about Zeke Elliott, but Jonathan Taylor, man, still doesn't have a deal. Sounds like the Indianapolis Colts are going to move him. Jonathan Taylor was, I think, one of the best running backs in the entire NFL last year. Yet, we're seeing just the continued deterioration of the position, the continued devaluation of the position, because here's a man who is young at the top of his career, and it looks like they're going to part ways with him. And I know the Bears have been talked about as one of the teams in contention. I hope for that young man's sake he don't end up there. But it just shows the continued deterioration of the position, man. At the height of his career, he is going to be moved. Jonathan Taylor's a New Jersey guy, so I've been rooting for him for that reason, South Jersey guy. But it seems as though Jonathan Taylor and the Indianapolis Colts are not going to come to terms, which is crazy. It's crazy.
No, they got this running back named Evan Hull from Northwestern. They ain't worried about Jonathan Taylor no more.
Maybe, man. Maybe.
How long? Like, so there's no such thing as a fullback anymore, right?
I
Like,
think there's a couple teams.
Very few teams have a
there's
fullback.
basically no position as a fullback at this point.
No, not unless
Are we getting to that point where like the running back will just basically be like a big slot receiver? Like what? Like is the position gonna just go away eventually, or is it just gonna be underpaid?
Something. You might be onto something because look, the back to school episode. We schooling y'all here on the Ball Hog Sports Talk. If you trace this back historically, fullbacks were drafted. There were some fullbacks that were drafted on the first day. And then you look at Mike the history. Mike Allstott was sort of a hybrid. He was both. But if you look at the history and you look at how the draft then started showing, fullbacks went later and later, and to the point where fullbacks weren't drafted. And now I think we are at the point of full extinction when it comes to fullbacks. You might be onto something, ETP, because if you look at how we have seen in the draft, right? Draft reflects value. The running backs, that used to be in the top 3, top 5 all the time. Now, we're happy when you get a running back drafted in the first round, and normally it's very late. And so that migration, I think, is suggesting that there's something going on that might be consistent with what you suggest, ETP, that the position might forever be done in the NFL.
I think you can see it. I can see a day where they start. For a while it was running backs that could catch. That was a big deal. So now it's going to be receivers that can come out the backfield, and you're going to have a dude motion to the backfield. You'll have a couple slots out there, and maybe a third receiver that's got a little tailback in his family. Maybe his daddy was a tailback, and they'll motion and stop, and then they'll just run the ball and do whatever, but really be all receivers until then. That might be a movement. That might be an offensive movement that I
would suggest some coordinator's gonna just like start that, and then that's how the double tight end, like it's standard now, right? Like, or the receiving tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's.
So you think about it. I mean, you could just do that from an offense. You just go out empty backfield, and then when you run, you just motion. It's gonna throw the defense off because they're gonna have to be in dime the whole time, and then you just motion to run.
I like these talks, man, because look, man, I'm trying to figure out my own football when it comes to our offense. I think at the end of the day, when you think of the players like a Christian McCaffrey, you think of the players like Deebo Samuel, I'd argue that it's already happening. Deebo Samuel defines himself as a wide back. The reason I think he's putting the word wide first, because you realize that wide receivers are getting paid, running backs ain't. And it's just interesting, man. And very interesting in how the evolution of the game. Let's hop into some other stuff, man, because over in Budapest, $2 to whoever knows what Budapest is. Where's Budapest? Hurry up. Where's Budapest?
Hungary.
I didn't know that. Damn, I didn't know that.
I usually think Budapest was like an Asian type country. Like when I grew up,
y'all both knew it. That's that light skin stuff. See, dark skin brothers don't know what no damn Budapest at.
But I got hungry in my family. And I'm hungry. I'm big.
They both said hungry. Yeah, that's that. I got what y'all did to me on that one. All right, cool.
He just found out. He's that dude that thought he found a big word, and everybody knew it. He's mad as shit. I thought I had y'all.
That's only $100 on Jeopardy. That's not
where's Budapest?
I thought for sure
that's
I had
not a daily double on Jeopardy.
All right. Light skinned dudes. Okay, y'all know what Budapest is. It is in Hungary. But over there in the World Championships, there's a young lady by the name of Sha'Carri Richardson, man. And this episode of Back to School, she is schooling us on how to really, really get the last laugh, and redemption, and revenge, and how it's served cold. Because as she said it, I ain't worried about the world. The whole world turned their back on me. They showed me that they'll love you one second and hate you the next. She is now, and forever shall be, world champion in the 100 meters, Sha'Carri Richardson, defeating both of her Jamaican foes, winning gracefully in a sense that after the race, while she has had sort of a chip on her shoulder, I thought she won gracefully with great sportsmanship, while also doing it unapologetically. She has taken what was sort of a sideshow with her look. For me, it was just all about how long her nails were and what color hair she had. she's put that aside and focused on track. And shout out to Sha'Carri Richardson. She's back on track, while doing that, winning a world championship, and also now going into the 200-meter final, trying to do the duel. She did advance to the finals. Spoiler alert for those who have not seen it. Interesting when it's in Hungary, or we tape it in the middle of the day and watch it at night. But shout out to Sha'Carri Richardson, man. I know we were tough on her when she failed that drug test, and people, not only people, but her family members connected it to some of the grief that she was dealing with losing her mom. I like to see when someone has a redemption story. I think this is one of the best redemption stories in sports throughout the last several years. So shout out to Sha'Carri Richardson. I don't know if you guys watched it and what you guys thought about it, but shout out to Sha'Carri Richardson.
I think now that she got rid of that Tekashi 6ix9ine look with the caterpillar eyebrows and all that, and started thinking about just track, she got that focus. I knew she was going to be good when that one race she took her wig and threw it off right before the race. Did you see that?
I did.
She had did you see it?
I did.
It was trifling, but it was a moment. I think that was her coming out. Like, look, I'm shedding all this BS, and she's fucked around. It's pretty. Who knew? Who knew she was pretty? Right?
A beautiful young lady.
Yeah, I never knew she was a cute girl, and she took all that craziness off. I didn't know who she was. I started off this morning. We had our show, and I was like, she looked real different. And then I looked at the pictures. I was like, wow, she just had a costume on. She got rid of that shit, and she run real fast now. You keep running, girl. You keep running your little ass down that track fast as you can.
Yeah, and look, man, she had to beat two of the best sprinters in in the history of track and field in order to win the race. And so shout out to her, man.
How did you feel about them being all in her video in the picture after they was talking all that trash before on her?
I liked it. I thought it was a moment. I thought it was good for this reason, because the rivalry has built to the point where track enthusiasts on both sides, American track enthusiasts and Jamaican track enthusiasts, have made it, I think, I think they've taken away the joy of running down that track 100 meters and the best person wins. We've made it about the trifling, trivial things. And I think for those women in that moment, it reminded us that you can compete with one another and respect each other's work. And at the end of the day, she won this round.
They respected her when they beat her, though. You know what I mean? Now that she beat, you know what I mean? All of the video now. But you know what?
She was the bigger person.
She was
they go low, we go high. And I don't want to say high because I know she failed the drug test, but they went low and she decided to,
she beat the Jamaicans too. Yeah, chest that for some weed. I ain't trying to look. I got a lot of most of my friends are Jamaican growing up, right?
Ganja man.
Well, let's say this: test them for some weed too. That's all I'm saying. Test them too.
Shout out to Sha'Carri, man. Good luck in the 200.
That's all I got.
She's got to run against Gabby Thomas in the 200, the Harvard grad. But shout out to Sha'Carri, man. I'm happy for her. I was happy for her and happy for the redemption story that is, because a lot of us, man, in this world, in back to school episode, let me school young people on something, because I think Instagram tells young people that they are the best thing since sliced bread. The same people that follow you and they're viewing your stories and they're liking it and even DMing you because you're on top, those are the same people that will celebrate your fall from grace. And I think Sha'Carri Richardson made us face that reality. And I hope young athletes really take what she said to heart. She said, I ain't worried about the world. The world showed me that they'll love you 1 second and turn on you the next. And that's the truth. And I think Sha'Carri Richardson embodies that redemption story. So shout out to her. And I know we only got you for a few more minutes, so I'm going to get into a few more things, man. One more thing before you get out of here, because it was Kobe Bryant Day. Kobe Bryant Day is 8/24, which was yesterday. He wore number 8. He wore number 24 for the Lakers, so they call that Kobe Bryant Day. Next year, they're going to unveil a statue in front of, it's not called Staples Center now. It's called, what is it called now?
Crypto.com Arena.
.com Arena, whatever. But his birthday, he shares the birthday.
Crypt. They call it the Crypt.
The Crypt.
Oh, no bloods in there, huh?
No bloods.
None of the games. You lost all the bloods.
Kobe Bryant's birthday, heavenly birthday, was the day before on August 23rd. So it's all about Kobe. Shout out to Bean Bryant. But it also now brings me to another story, because Anthony Edwards at USA International Basketball told the coach, Steve Kerr, he didn't want to come off the bench. Steve Kerr gave him this story about how Dwayne Wade came off the bench because they had Kobe Bryant, and it was rumored that he said, yeah, but we ain't got no Kobe Bryant. Anthony Edwards put on a show. We almost lost the game. Anthony Edwards put the team on his back. But I think he unleashed his inner Kobe Bryant because that is a Mamba response. Now, he's rumored to say that he said he didn't say it. He thought it. And I like that, man. He's like, yeah, but we ain't got no Kobe Bryant.
That reminds you of all the smart remarks you thought you wanted to say to your mama or your dad as a kid.
You just couldn't say it.
I just said it. You say mumble. I mumbled it, though. I thought it real hard.
But Dwayne Wade coming off the bench, Anthony Edwards was like, they ain't got nothing to do with me, dog. There ain't no Kobe Bryant on this team. But last thing I'm going to say about USA basketball is because Carmelo Anthony go down as in all the categories. He's the best USA basketball internationally. Carmelo Anthony lost to his son, Kiyan Anthony, who I think is a sophomore now in high school, one-on-one. Lala, the mom, recorded it and posted it. And I'm this is the last thing I want to say to you.
They divorced, right? That's because they divorced. That's a divorce.
Is that a celebratory moment? Your son beats you in one-on-one. If Little Reg,
Carmelo's still trying to get a contract, though. He's still trying to get
slams you one day and your wife posted, like he finally got you. Is it a celebratory moment? You've been trying to put him on them push-ups his whole life. Is it a celebratory moment?
No. No. If he slams me, no. Not especially if I still think I can still consider myself to still be an athlete. Carmelo might. Is he done? Did he play last year?
He officially retired. He's officially
retired. I'm about to say he's on the clock for the Hall of Fame because I say, man, Carmelo might be trying to get a 10-day somewhere. Yeah. And you don't let my little high school son to beat me and stuff. I mean, that's kind of a good moment, but why you got to be all extra and put it all on
Mama posted it. Hey, Big Flo Show, I know you got to get out of here, brother. We'll catch up with you next week. Thank you
for
all
y'all,
your
man.
contributions.
Hey, nice to be back, y'all. Nice to be back.
Brother. Have a great weekend.
Thanks.
All right, me and ETP, we're going to finish this out, man. And how we going to finish it is like this. We got to go to this Shohei Ohtani. The man that we talked about was going to probably be the first billion-dollar guy. In this back-to-school episode, we got a lesson on just how fragile those type of dollars can be. Shohei Ohtani is now done pitching for the rest of the year. Before this story broke in his injury, I didn't know he had already gotten Tommy John surgery before. They say the second Tommy John surgery for the what is it? UCL? What is it called? Whatever it's called. UCL. It said normally that's the one that ends any ability to pitch again. He is going to continue playing because he can still bat. He pitches right, bats left, whatever it is. I might be messing it up, but he can still play baseball and he can still get his at-bats. But it's been rumored that this injury might cost him every bit of $400 million. He'll still get about 400, but at one point they were saying, upwards of 800, maybe $900 million. I don't, and look, that's still more money than most people can dream of. But half is half. What do we think about this, man? We celebrated Ohtani all year, and now we get to this point, and I'm like, no. I don't know him, but I feel terrible about the fact that he got hurt and what it's going to do ultimately for the contract that he was waiting on. The imminent contract is now almost certainly smaller.
Yeah, I mean, so outside of the money, I think the thing for me is he was on pace to just do some really, I mean, he's already doing unthinkable, groundbreaking, frontier pushing feats on the baseball field. So the idea that there's a possibility that he's going to be limited, like this is, I hope that he recovers. Like you said, the probability that he has if he has a second Tommy John surgery, the probability that he gets back to top form, it reduces dramatically. I just don't want it to turn into like a Bo Jackson scenario where we talk about what could have been because he was just on that trajectory and just ascending to the height of like supernatural capabilities. So money aside, I mean, it sucks, right? Like it sucks that he's not, but that's not my money. I don't really care about it. But the reality is I think it hurts the sport. It's really unfortunate. Like Japan is not having a good week. Like, they're dumping toxic radioactive water into the ocean, and their star athlete, and then Shohei Ohtani's injured.
Yeah, look, and it feels that seismic though, right? Like, it's that big of a deal when someone that is so unique to a sport. And I think Bo Jackson is a great example or comparison, if you will. That analogy makes the point, is that when you have somebody doing something that no one else has done, unfathomable, right? Something that looks video game-ish. When you tell someone about what he's doing, the person that's hearing the story is in complete disbelief, and that person has a sudden and drastic fall from grace, at least when it comes to the pitching part. We might have seen the end of him as a pitcher. That's a big deal. That's a really, really big deal. And I my thoughts and prayers go out to him and his injury and his recovery and all of his family that's dealing with it, his teammates that are dealing with it, but also to baseball itself. Because when you have someone like that, just as the NFL found with Bo Jackson, Bo knows, right? Like, that was, you build off of that from, does life imitate art? Does art imitate life? That character in the center of your sport allows you to do so many things. I think baseball also struggled with where do they go from here now that Ohtani is not going to be the face of baseball, and the ability to do things offensively and defensively that no one has really been able to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Even if he's a great DH, that's nothing compared to what he was being set up to be in the lexicon of sports. I mean, if he continued, he probably only would have to do what he's been doing for 2 more seasons, and we're talking about him as the greatest athlete that's graced any sporting venue in any sport ever. But if he can't pitch anymore, he could be a great DH, but it's nowhere in comparison to what he was building in terms of his legacy.
So we wish him well. And in this episode of Back to School, I will say this. Just like Sha'Carri Richardson, I think, allowed young athletes to get a glimpse into a really, really, really true but sometimes painful reality that your fall from grace could be quick, and the world is the same world that's rooting for you is also rooting against you. This Shohei Ohtani injury is another example, another lesson in this Back to School episode of it could be going great at 11 a.m. and by noon, your career could be over. And so I pause for this moment to say it because I am blessed to be around young athletes, and every day I get there and I'll say something like, it's a great day to get better. And I want them to always say, like, you only get one chance to take full advantage of this chance. And so in this Back to School episode, let's use Shohei Ohtani's injury as a lesson and a reminder to young people that you never know when things are going to change drastically. So take advantage of the opportunities and make memories out of those opportunities because you just don't know what tomorrow holds. And with that, this has been a great show. It's back to school, baby, because the whole crew is in the building. We didn't even do a ball hog spotlight moment. We were just so excited about being in the same room with each other and being back in this platform. The new season started today with the back to school episode. Make sure you are here next Friday. It's the Ball Hog Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. We do it one way and one way only. We do it rough, rugged, and raw. The whole crew is in the building. The Big Flow Show is here from the Middle Coast. We have my man ETP here from the East Coast. And I am your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mountain of the South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration, a.k.a. Breezy, a.k.a. someone that is forever indebted and honored that you guys spend time with us. We ask you again, please like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anyone that you know, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel and the podcast. Won't cost you a dime, but you'll be helping us out tremendously. So go ahead and share it, y'all, and subscribe. And with that, the Ball Hog Sports Talk And the back to school episode is over. So we is out. Peace.